Check, check. What's happening? What's happening? Good late evening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen. The fuckery continues. Hold on, wait. First and foremost, I have to start with positive energy. All love, positive energy, all the good vibes. I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody woke up on the right side of the bed. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you loving on your loved ones. Man, can't lie, it's hard to pass that energy off a little bit, but I'm still gonna do it. This trial has been interesting to say the least. One thing I could point out is how fucking trash the defense is, and what they're willing to just stick to, what they're willing to just grasp onto and just hold on to. It's fucked up because I honestly can see through all the shit. I can honestly see through all the shit, all the fucking the bullshit that they're trying to pull and the shit that they're trying to stick to try to make it seem like George Floyd was gonna die anyway, because of the drugs that he was apparently on. I can see how they're using the crowd to try to make them seem violent. All that would work if there wasn't video. What's good, Loke Dog? All that would work, all that would be in their favor if there wasn't video. And the fact that there is video is gonna be, I can't stress it enough. And I know there's people out there that's trying to like give the reasons and try to give their whole little bullshit, fuck shit ass reasons as to why they're bringing up these arguments. But it's crazy. They didn't want to bring, for instance, Genevieve Hanson, the EMT, the firefighter who was off duty and came on scene. They didn't want her to be a part of this trial as a witness because they didn't want to explain what ifs. As in, they didn't want her to talk about if she would have been able to save George Floyd or not because they don't want to deal with what ifs. But the crazy part is their defense is built on a what if. Their whole defense is built on a what if. Let me explain. The fact that they're using drugs as the reason why he died says that they're saying that he would have died either way that day. They're saying my man would have died off top. No questions asked. Without even having whether he had an altercation with the police or not, they saying he would have died regardless. That's a what if to me. We don't know that. We don't know that he would have overdosed that day on whatever the fuck they're saying he was on. What we do know is that there's multiple footage of Derek Chauvin kneeling down on this man's neck and not letting up at all the entire time. People on the and then them use we're gonna get to the defense. We're gonna get to the defense. We're gonna get to how they're using and how they're spinning shit right now. First person I want to talk about is Donald Williams. This guy right here. So Donald Williams was on the scene when everything was going on. He was the only person, I believe, who didn't pull his phone out and start recording. He, out of everyone there, seemed like the person that was willing and ready to do some shit. And if that officer who was there on the scene, Chow, whatever his name is, Tao, I think, if he wasn't there, or maybe if he had a different approach or attitude to the situation, you know, while a man was dying behind him, maybe my man Donald probably would have motherfucking intervened. But he didn't really have a chance to. And him telling his story about what happened as the side that's trying to pin second degree, third degree, and manslaughter on CHAUVIN, as they tried to have him recant his story, he got emotional. And it's because you can tell he really wanted to do something about that. And he now, I know now, he probably wishes he would have. Like what the outcome would be if he would have just rushed, pushed Tao back, and at least tried to rush CHAUVIN. Maybe CHAUVIN would have let up on his leg, let his knee up or something in defense to get himself ready, and let up off of George early on in the altercation. Maybe this is me speaking on maybes. I'm just saying, like, this is the things that would go through my mind if I was the guy who was standing out in front watching what was going on and having shit play out the way that it did. How it sparked what happened to George sparked something that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Times 1,000. It was worldwide. Now, the defense really wanted to make him look like the angry black man. Let's talk about that real quick. And it really pissed me off the way that they tried to make it seem like he was just some violent witness. When in the video, he is expressing how frustrating, how angry he is at the fact that they're not trying to help this man on the ground who is unconscious. Well, before he became unconscious, what's good, JG? Before he became unconscious, he was verbally expressing how he felt. Now, this is the one thing the defense is going to have a hard time, and I hope the other side, I hope the people I hope they are going to bring up the fact that it's going to be a hard time to explain the level at which CHAUVIN went to stay kneeled on the neck of somebody, as everyone expressed, not even just everyone, fuck everyone, as George expressed what was happening. He was telling him, "Hey, the knee on my neck. I can't breathe. My stomach hurts." I said I wasn't going to watch the video again, but I went through the whole entire trial today. I watched everything. I watched all the witnesses. I watched all the examples, all the videos they showed. I had to go through it and watch it again. That shit fucked me up. It's hard to watch that because like it's a, like, you know how they say it's a clear-cut case? Open and shut case right there. If anybody else in that situation, if these were just two regular citizens. Now imagine if there was a dude outside, like say if he was drunk. All right, let's give it an actual instance and not like some biased instance. And I say it in a way where I'm not going to use an instance of people fighting. Let's just say there was a regular citizen who probably, I don't know, maybe he was belligerent or something, and maybe he was just acting drunk or whatever the case may be. And there was 4 individuals who decided to subdue him because he was doing too much. He was probably drunk on some shit. He was probably high, whatever the case may be. And they all subdued him. They all got on top of him and held him down and say they waited till police came or whatever the case may be. The one guy who took it too far, the one guy, a.k.a. the person who was playing the role of Derek Chauvin, the guy who will probably have his knee on the guy's neck to hold him down to the point where the guy lost his breath and consciousness, to the point where that man died. And then on top of that, not only did that happen, but it's caught on video the entire time. The whole altercation between the whole thing, no matter what happened before, no matter what happened in the middle, the whole thing was caught. If that was the case, and there was a group of people telling this man, a regular citizen, to get off somebody's neck because he's killing somebody, and he didn't do anything about it, didn't give a fuck, didn't show concern, didn't show any care, didn't show any motherfucking remorse in his face, and it's on video, the court would see that, and they'd be like, wow, you didn't think to let up off somebody who clearly was expressing the fact that they couldn't breathe and that you were killing them, and actually expressed verbally, word for word, the knee on my neck and I can't breathe. It's something as simple as that being on video, and then having the defense come out here with some bullshit like the crowd was some type of angry, violent crowd. And then at the same time, having those videos play back as examples and as evidence showing the crowd, about eight to 10 people standing on the corner or standing on the fucking sidewalk in front of Cup Foods, 2 or 3 of them being kids, like children, 8 and under, teenagers, and a few grown-ass adults who are yelling and shouting because they see somebody dying. It's a traumatic event. You can expect people to start yelling and screaming when they see something wrong happening and they're trying to prevent it. But he tried to make all of them out there. And I'm talking about, if you're including the crowd, he's talking about the crowd. So this stupid, dumb motherfucker is including the kids in this. Now I wish the other side would point that part out just to make them feel even more stupid for even bringing that up, because there are children out there. So you mean to tell me these children were violent towards the police? You're talking about the crowd as a whole. They're not just talking about the few witnesses up here, because they had children as witnesses on the stand today. But what they're trying to make it seem as though, for one, not only are they going to try, are they trying to use drugs as in the first coroner report as a way to get Derek Chauvin off, but it's going to be hard. I don't know how the fuck you can say that or even try to consider that, especially when you're on the jury, when the video is showing you that the person that is getting killed is verbally telling this motherfucker, hey, I can't breathe. The knee you have on my neck is fucking killing me. All you motherfuckers with your weight on me and kneeling on me and putting and pushing down on me, my stomach hurts. I can't breathe. All right, we had our little fucking scuffle in the fucking car. All right, cool. Y'all got me. I'm down. Get the fuck off his neck. Get the fuck off his neck. All right, cool. All right, how about this? Even while he's still verbally and whatever, and now he's not talking no more. Now he's out. Now he's out. How do you explain this? From the time he was out to the time paramedics came up to George and then went back to the motherfucking ambulance to grab the fucking gurney and come out with it, he still had his fucking knee on his neck. Think about that. Several minutes went by of unconsciousness. He wasn't moving. You would think that somebody in that position, let's say, let's give this bitch ass nigga the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that he was scared for his life. and he kept his knee on him because he was still moving. Okay, for several minutes, George was knocked out cold. He was done for, not breathing, not moving, not unresponsive, all that. What would be the purpose to still have your knee on him? Now, the reason to make second degree and third degree and manslaughter stick will be intent to kill. I think if there's video of, once again, let me use this example. Two citizens, right? Two citizens out and about doing whatever the fuck it is that they're doing, right? Imagine there's two citizens and they get into a fight. One of the citizens puts the other one in the chokehold, and then until the other one went unconscious. Now, let's say the other one is unconscious now, and that person still just had it there. People are yelling, yo, get off him. You're killing him. You're going to kill him. Get off him. You're choking him out. Get off him. He didn't let up. He just stayed there, waited till fucking ambulance came. And then when the ambulance came, still had him in the fucking chokehold. Ambulance came, looked at him, tried to look at his eyes. All right, hold on. We'll go back to the car, grab the gurney. All right, are you ready to let off him? Cool. Then you let off the motherfucker. I'm talking in regular shit. Like, that would be murder, right? That would be intent. Intent. That is his intent. His intention was to murder him. That was the intent. His intention was not to subdue him anymore. After the first few minutes of kneeling on him and him expressing the fact that it was fucking killing him and that he couldn't breathe, and he's telling you that it's killing him, if somebody's telling you you're killing them and you continue to do the thing that they're telling you that is killing them, you have the intent of killing them. Boom. It's like, talk about what the fuck this reason and common sense, man. That is intent to kill. If someone is telling you, verbally telling you. Now, I want to play some of this shit real quick from the trial. Let's play some of this shit because I want y'all to hear what he's talking about.
Okay. Again, you made a statement to.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. Let me go back. I don't know why their fucking sound is fucking crazy right now.
I did.
You called him a real man.
I did.
You called him such a man.
I did.
You called him bogus.
I did.
You called him a bum at least 13 times.
That's what you counted in the video?
That's what I counted.
And that's what you got, 13.
And that was early on, right? Those terms grew more and more angry. Would you agree with that?
They grew more and more pleading for life.
All right. After you called him a bum 13 times, you called him a bum.
That's what you heard?
Did you say that?
Is that what you heard?
I'm asking you, sir.
I'm pretty
Did
sure
you
I
say
did.
that?
You heard that. I'm pretty sure you did.
You call him a.
If that's what you heard, I'm sure that's
I'm
what I did.
asking you. Did you say that?
If that's what the video recorded, so I did.
You called him a bitch.
If that's the video you heard from the video,
It's a yes or no, sir.
If that's what was heard in the video, yes, I did.
And at one point, you said that Officer Tao pushed you.
That's correct. He didn't. He put his hand in my chest, is what I said.
And you observed Officer Tao push someone else, right? Or feel like he pushed someone else?
I didn't let him touch anyone else.
Do you recall saying, I dare you to touch me like that. I swear I'll slap the of both of you.
Yeah, I did. I meant it.
Right. So again, sir, it's fair to say that you grew angrier and angrier.
No, I grew professional and professional. I stayed in my body. You can't pay me out to be angry.
Boom. Don't paint my man out to be angry. That is the core of why fucking white men fear black men. They have an automatic preconceived fear of us. That is a fear. What he did was try to isolate Donald Williams and Derek Chauvin as if Donald Williams was this black guy just yelling at Derek Chauvin for no reason. Calling him a bum 13 times. You counted how many times he called him a bum for what? Doesn't matter how many times he called him a bum. Aren't these motherfuckers trained to do their job? Right? They're trained. So the simple fact that they think words is enough for them to just fucking go off the handle and kill somebody is exactly why people are yelling, defund the police. And as a matter of fact, if you scared, don't be a fucking police officer. If words can stop you from doing your job the right way, you probably shouldn't be in that profession. What Donald Williams' words did in that moment were nothing. They did nothing to the situation. They did nothing to harm or to fucking confuse or to stop Derek Chauvin from getting off of George Floyd's neck. So the fact that that was even in the conversation, it can't, bruh, think about this shit. In the beginning of when he started to talk to him and the defense started to talk to Donald Williams, what they tried to do was try to dig deep into his martial arts, his mixed martial arts background to try to discredit him there. But he couldn't because he knew what he was talking about. And the guy that was trying to ask him the questions, the defense, Mr. Nelson, when he was trying to talk to him, see what lawyers try to do, they try to get all the terms and all the technical and all the other jargon and shit. They try to get all that shit to try to trip somebody up when they think somebody isn't a professional at something or take something serious or just say that they do something. What he saw was a black dude on the corner talking shit and then didn't believe that he actually had a background in what he was doing. He got crushed there. He couldn't say nothing else after that because you're talking to somebody about something they actually did. You can't trip nobody up who actually did exactly what they said they did and who knows these terms just as much as you do. So after that didn't work, he tried to trip him up as being an angry black man. And like I said, how can you isolate those two? You can't. There was a reason. There was a reaction to what was happening. There was a cause to why he was acting and reacting the way that he was in that situation. He saw somebody getting murdered. He saw somebody getting the life taken from them. And when you see that and you can see somebody clearly not giving a fuck about that, you will increasingly become angry. And that's the problem. That is what I can't stand about the defense and how I continue to reinforce the fact that the defense is fucking trash. They are fucking trash. Do you understand? Man, look, you said sound. Can you hear me? What do you mean by sound? Can you hear me? Check. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Because if they blocking the sound, it's for a reason. They don't want this. They don't want motherfuckers to speak on this shit. Let me know if you can hear me. I got to know. He said, I read today that New York stops qualified immunity. The fuck? What you mean? Okay, you can hear me? Cool. Now, there were many moments when the defense tried to trip up Donald, but it didn't work. And I'm pretty sure the jury saw that in him. The problem that I continue to have with the defense is how like dumb they sound, but I can tell that it's like making sense to the judge, and we're gonna get there later because the judge had a little moment at the end later on when he when Genevieve Hanson was up giving her testimony on what everything was what on what was happening. And apparently she was arguing with the court and with the defense, with the lawyers. I don't know. I didn't see it. I definitely didn't see it. Clearly a lot of other people didn't see it. So a lot of people were confused as to why he scolded her and borderline went off on her at the end. But we'll get to that as well. There was a moment. Now we're moving over to a couple more witnesses who I didn't name yet. They're younger witnesses. They interviewed the big cousin and little cousin who showed up and had to and the big cousin that took the video of George Floyd and the incident that took place outside of Cup Foods. They interviewed her. She did as good a job as she could. You know, it was emotional for her. You know, she's a young lady that witnessed a murder, and that's not, despite popular belief, that's not normal for anybody. You know what I'm saying? And people grow up in certain places where, you know, it's normalized to see, tragedy, but that it doesn't go for everybody, man. And you can tell as she was talking and as she was expressing everything that she saw and what she went through, that it was a very traumatic situation for her. It's something that she's had to sit with for a year. And now having to relive and have the world watch her as she recants her statements and talks about everything that she saw and what she remembers. Then they interviewed the little girl. She was 9 years old, or she is 9 years old. And, you know, her telling her side of the story, you know, the defense didn't even come up to speak to her because they knew, try something with this little black girl, I promise you. Any weird shit, any fucking mind tricks, any games, you gonna fucking lose. You gonna lose the jury like that. Let this little girl cry while you sitting up there trying to ask her or try to make her out to be part of the crowd that you keep bringing up who was violent or felt like they were gonna attack the police. Come on. They didn't have no questions for her. That's a big that is a huge sign right there alone. What is their target? Now, they interviewed a couple more people. They told their stories or whatnot, but what I want to get to is Genevieve Hanson, the EMT who showed up on the scene, or the firefighter who showed up on the scene, who was off duty. But when she showed up on the scene, she showed up as George Floyd was in distress and how and he was clearly in a state of in and out of consciousness. She can tell that this was gonna go bad. She asked to check his pulse, or asked somebody to check his pulse, and all she was met with was aggression. the Officer Tao, the one that was standing in front of everybody to make sure that nobody ran up or whatever the fuck he was trying to do just to try to look tough. He told her, if you're really a firefighter, if you're really EMT, then you'll know to get out the street. He didn't give a fuck about if George was dying or not. He didn't give a fuck about the fact that his partner was doing some fuck shit. He gave a fuck about his own ego. He gave a fuck about trying to look tough in front of everybody. He gave a fuck about the fact that he was getting his ass rolled over in high school and in middle school and in elementary school. His whole life he was getting his ass beat the fuck up. So now this is his chance to be tough, to have a shield, to where he knows that if anybody touches me, it's their ass. You know, that's a big percentage of the motherfucking police force. A lot of motherfuckers that got bullied, a lot of motherfuckers that got punked, who now have a job that they feel secure in because they get to carry a motherfucking gun, taser, mace, handgun, or handcuffs, batons. These are people that feel secure in their job because they're able to kill you if they want to. And they know, that's the funny part. Like, motherfuckers is quick to go out of the rules in certain aspects. But the one thing that they always remember is the legit reasons as to why they can cause harm to somebody. They always remember, those stick in the back of the police minds. Remember that. Pay attention to that. They can come, that like the basic rules of being a police officer, those can definitely slip their fucking minds. But what never leaves their fucking mind is their reasoning to be able to fucking cause any type of bodily harm to anyone. They know those boundaries. They know when they can overstep those boundaries. They know when there are weak points, when they can take advantage of a situation to where they can cause harm. These motherfuckers want that action. That's why they put that fucking badge on, because they want to fucking do some shit to people. You don't become a cop because you want to sit in your car all day and drive around and hope nothing happens. They're waiting for shit to happen. They want an excuse to fucking shoot they fucking gun off. They want an excuse to put somebody in a motherfucking headlock and feel like the fucking man. They want to feel stronger than you. They want to feel superior than you. This is a gang unit. The police are a gang unit. They are the gangs. They are the motherfuckers out here. They're the biggest gang out here. Out of any gang that you can speak on or come up with or talk about, the police are the biggest gang ever, and they're a legal gang. It's crazy. Now, let's get to Genevieve, man. Genevieve Hanson. She came up and she did a tremendous job. What's good, Ben Slim? What's good, Jay? What's good, Tony Henderson? She did a tremendous job. Tremendous job. I applaud her for what she did on the scene. Because before she was able to pull her phone out, or even if she did pull her phone out in that moment, she was able to at least try to administer help in a way where if Officer Tao wasn't a bitch-ass motherfucker and Derek Chauvin wasn't a bitch-ass motherfucker, maybe, just maybe, she could have helped. Now, I don't have no police training. I don't know what you do in instances like this. But what I have seen is when somebody's having a medical problem during a police altercation with somebody, let's say they're having an altercation with somebody and that person decides it goes into cardiac arrest. They have to call EMT. Firefighters come, EMT, or the ambulance come, all this shit. They try to administer help. But they don't just call them and just sit there and wait. No, police have some training in this shit. They always carry that bag with them just in case they have to be the first person to try to administer some type of help to someone that is going through some type of medical problem. Am I right or am I wrong? There were 4 officers on the scene. Not one of them decided to go to their car, grab something or whatever, or even at the least try to administer some type of CPR, some type of way of giving a fuck about the man's life. Even after the ambulance showed up. I want to play the video, but I'm not. This is not the time, this is not the place either. But I can describe to you that in the video, if you haven't seen it, Derek Chauvin's knee was pressed upon his neck firmly. He was verbally speaking and letting him know what the problem was. George Floyd, I'm talking about. As the knee was pressed upon his neck, he was verbally speaking to try to let him know what was going on. See, now they tried to use the excuse when they were talking to Donald Williams that, oh, if you put somebody in a chokehold, are you able to speak when you're becoming unconscious? If you're going in and out of conscious, you don't fucking know if you're speaking or not, for one. Secondly, George Floyd did become unconscious, and he wasn't talking the entire time. He was trying to tell them with the last fucking breaths that he could fucking take what was happening with him before he could lose consciousness, before he can go in and out, and before he ultimately died. So you have to understand, even after that, when he was unconscious, he was not moving. Derek Chauvin had his knee pressed upon his neck and stayed there. He was motionless. At that point, wouldn't it be, like I said, I have never taken any type of police training ever in my life. But before I'm any type of title on this earth, who I am as a human being, first and foremost, I'm a human being. And personally, I'm not a fucking killer. So I'm not going to speak for Derek Chauvin because we clearly know what his motive was. We know what he's about. But me, if somebody was unconscious and non-responsive, not moving, what would be my point to still restrain them or to apply pressure to them in any type of way? What would be the point? Answer that question. Defense, answer that question. I need the defense to answer that question. I need them to answer the fact, what was the point of him to continue to apply pressure to somebody who was unconscious? That it doesn't make sense, and it never will. You can't explain that. And if you don't give this man any time for even just that alone, because there's no what is the explanation? I would love to see it. I would love to hear them ask that question. Hey, so let's just say George Floyd still being conscious and moving around felt like a threat to you. After he was unresponsive, motionless, and unable to speak or breathe, what was the purpose for you to continue to have your knee pressed upon the back of his neck for that amount of time, for that long? What was the reasoning? I would love to hear that answer. I would love to hear how these stupid motherfuckers try to twist that. And then somebody speaking on the drugs and like, what can, like, honestly, can you cannot say that this man could have overdosed that day. You can't say that. That is a what if. That is a what if. And then somebody even tried to bring up the fact, do you know that George Floyd said he couldn't breathe before they even touched him? Oh, okay. So I guess what you do to somebody who say they can't breathe before you even touch them, you put them face first on the fucking ground on their stomach and put your knee on their neck and then press other grown-ass men on top of them? Yeah, that makes sense, white man. Continue to make those fucking excuses. I've seen it all. I know your game. I know how you motherfuckers run shit. I know that you desperately need to find excuses to not give a fuck about black lives. I get it. I understand. But I don't fuck with it. And I'll call out your contradictions. I'll call out your bullshit. And I'll debunk anything that you motherfuckers have to say because, for one, you motherfuckers ain't all the way right up here. So it's only a matter of time till you motherfuckers make yourself look stupid like that. Oh, he said he couldn't breathe before they touched him. Well, why the fuck would you put him on the fucking ground and then press humans on top of him and then put another fucking human's knee on his neck? Explain that, you stupid motherfuckers. Please explain that shit. It don't make no sense. Now, we have Genevieve Hanson here who did her damnedest. I'm talking about she did her best to stay on point, and she did. And she answered these questions. Specifically, one of the questions that she answered to her, like, that was perfect, that I wanted her to answer, was the answer of her because the defense in pretrial tried to basically tried to X her out of being a witness because they tried to pass it off as her being somebody making it seem like she could have saved George Floyd's life, and they didn't want to deal with what ifs. But there was no what ifs because these motherfuckers denied her. The fact that they denied her was the reason why she is a witness today, and because of her title. She didn't lie about her title. She was a real life firefighter, an EMT. She was off duty that day, and they didn't believe her. Those police officers didn't believe her. And they didn't want somebody that they didn't believe or know for sure if she was really who she said she was, trying to administer anything to somebody, and especially if they didn't give a fuck about his life or how shit was turning out, because they clearly didn't change up how they were acting the entire time. And then to use it, man, we'll get to the excuses of using the people as an excuse for the cops to not do their job. But she gave a perfect answer to that because he tried to grill her on that. So if you're trying to fight a fire, would it be distracting if you had a bunch of people yelling at you? No, it wouldn't. I'll be doing my job. What if people were shouting threatening words at you? Once again, motherfucker who don't listen, I'm professional enough, and I know that what I was taught in training, my training, keyword training, that it wouldn't affect me. It would be more important to focus on the fire that I'm trying to fucking put out than what people are telling me who are not in my profession what I'm doing wrong. Because guess what? Your instance, first of all, sounds stupid as fuck. Who the fuck shouts and cusses out and fucking tries to shout threatening words at firefighters who are trying to put out a fucking fire? You dumb motherfucker. You stupid motherfucker. You just stupid as hell. Why? What kind of instance is that? What kind of example is that? In how many instances have you been around a fucking fire and you've seen people yelling and cussing out the firefighters who are trying to help put out the fire? What a stupid man. This guy is fucking stupid. The defense is just damn. I can't even say it enough. I hope he counts this, just like he counted how many times Donald Williams said bum. You are stupid. Just stupid. It don't make no fucking sense. Tony, hold on. Let me read a few of these. Ben Slim said coroner already deemed death as a homicide, so good luck defense. That was the second one. See, now that's the problem with the coroner's report, because the first coroner ruled it as I don't know the technical term, but he's basically ruling it as not the cause of death is not from I don't even know how to say the word. He is basically saying that the coroner's report, asphyxiation. There we go, asphyxiation. It was not death by asphyxiation. He was saying that I don't know the term. I want to use the right term in this instance because it means something to this trial. But the second coroner's report came from the family. The family did a second one because they wanted a second opinion. They don't want to use that in court. They're not going to use that. The judge already deemed that as inadmissible because it was the second whatever. But even then, we still hold this video to be proof because there's video proof. And there's obviously something that transpired between him and the police that caused his death. In particular, Derek Chauvin. Tony Henderson said, "Did you see how Officer Tao kept getting in front of the camera to prevent a clear view?" Yeah, we also saw that as well. He kept trying to get in front of what was happening because he realized, holy shit, my partner is not getting up off of his neck, and this man is unconscious. And people see it in their videotape, and this is going to be bad. It's 2020 as well, so they know that this is not going to go over well. They know it's not going to go over well. But see, what happens is motherfuckers' ego. Now, it's very quick, very easy and quick to run to the race card when it comes to this. Now, I hate using the term race card because I know a lot of white people use that shit. But it's easy to go to race when we're dealing with a black man in police, which that does play into this situation. Him being a big black man played a lot in this situation. But ego. Cops deal with a lot of ego. They don't know how to hold professionalism when they're on the job because they deal with a lot of people calling them bitch ass motherfuckers and bums and pussies. And when you get, that's how you can fucking decipher which ones got bullied back in the day and now took on the job to feel like a tough guy. Tao is one of those people. And you can see it in the video. This man was ready to pepper spray a firefighter, EMT, just because she asked to help. She asked to help. She didn't say, move your little ass over for I'll beat your ass. She asked to help. That is fragile ego. Are you really who you say you are? Are you really a firefighter? Then you know to stay on the street. We're not talking about staying on the street, you stupid motherfucker. We talking about saving a man's life who doesn't deserve to die for whatever reason y'all feel like y'all need to fucking be out here doing the most on one person. Now, I keep getting sidetracked, man, because this shit is really, you got to understand, man, this shit, it really fucks with me, man. I've been following this shit since it happened. And I'm not letting up on the defense because they're doing a horrible job, which is good. It would be good if there was the right judge in place. I don't know if we have the right judge in place. Because a judge, a good judge, will see how fucking stupid the defense is and how they have no type of defense. The best defense that they do have is the drug shit. But even then, they cannot prove whether or not George Floyd would have died regardless that day. They cannot prove that. That cannot be proven. They can only prove the drugs that he had in his system. Bring up his medical problems. They said he had an inflamed heart or an enlarged heart. They also said he was positive for COVID-19. Yeah, a lot of people have become positive for COVID-19, as we see since dealing with this shit for over a year. A lot of people have tested positive for COVID-19. A lot of people are alive today. So that does not play in this shit. Imagine, like, if he had all these problems, right? and he's expressing to you what his problem is with what's happening. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest part of it all that I want to drive the focus on right here on this stream today. That man was able, see, in an instance where the police show up and something happens and something quick happens to where they shoot off and they shoot a man, they shoot a black man, and he dies on the scene. They have all the they can say what they felt happened. They can say whatever the fuck the case. Oh, he reached, he did this, he did that. Whatever they can say to try to get off, right? That black man is dead. He cannot speak for himself. So it has to be people speaking for him. The person that killed him and the people that's trying to convict the person that killed him. In this instance, George had a little bit of time. He had a little bit of breath left. God gave him a little bit more time to express how he felt before his life was taken. God gave him just a little bit more time just to let people know, hey, I can't breathe. My stomach hurts, all while people are pressed on top of him. The knee on my neck, you're killing me. I can't breathe because your knee on my neck. He's verbally saying this before he becomes unconscious and then later dies. He expressed that. I feel like that'd be something in any other instance that didn't have anything to do with the police would be something that'd be the most clear-cut shit in the fucking world. Somebody expressing on video while they're getting murdered why they are dying. He's not saying, hey, man, I'm high as fuck. Y'all need to move around because I think I'm about to overdose. He didn't say, oh, man, the crowd is getting hostile. I'm about to have a heart attack. He said, hey, your knee is on my neck. I can't breathe. I'm going to die. You're killing me. The people standing around said the same shit. This woman right here said the same shit. She tried to help. She was prevented. They prevented her from helping. Let me play some of this, man.
Mr. Floyd was already on the ground, right?
Correct.
And Mr. Floyd, you saw what your memory told you was 4 police officers on you, right?
Correct.
But you now know that it was 3, right?
Correct.
And I think you made some reference about why you videotaped, because our memories are fallible,
Correct.
right? And again, a stressful situation can impact your memory, right?
Absolutely. That's why we're lucky it was videotaped.
Right. On scene.
Yeah. That's why we're lucky it was videotaped. That's why we are lucky it was videotaped. That's why I don't want anybody that was involved to feel bad that they videotaped what happened, because if they didn't, the world wouldn't have heard George screaming, I can't breathe. See, when the defense brought up, or when they interviewed the witnesses, the one picture they wanted to use, the one still picture they wanted to use from a body cam, from the body cam footage of Officer Tao, was the one of Donald Williams being held back by somebody with one hand, making him look violent, making him seem like he was going to attack the police. But you have a still of a body camera that took footage. And luckily enough, the court set it up to where you can't just show a fucking still from a video. You have to show the video. Donald Williams wasn't threatening in any type of way. None of the words he used was threatening in any type of way. When he said, I'll slap the shit out of you, was because he got touched. And he let them know, don't touch me again. And if you do, I'll slap the shit out of you. And he meant it. He didn't get touched again. But let me tell you something. That don't go well for all black men. They like to push those buttons. They were hoping that Donald stepped out of his body and did some shit so that they give the excuse for, hey, he couldn't do his job because the crowd was violent. I thank them for not doing something. So everybody, this is a lesson right here, especially for a lot of the old heads, because I get it. Y'all motherfuckers come from a different generation. But for everybody who be like, man, the people standing there recording shit, man, I would do something, man. Why ain't y'all do something? Y'all some pussies. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all some motherfucking bitches. Y'all just gonna stand there and watch George Floyd die? Y'all gonna stand there and watch a black man die and say Black Lives Matter? Y'all ain't shit. Now let me tell you why you can't do nothing. Example right here in court. It could be used against you and you will have these motherfuckers get off with murder every single time. Don't act off emotion. Be fucking smart. This is how they fucking keep winning. The fact that nobody did shit or nobody was actually threatening is going to help George Floyd get justice. Hopefully. But I know for a fact, watching this and how they use that as an excuse and how they have allowed it to be something as an excuse, even though there's video of showing the crowd not being violent at all. The fact that they're allowing it in court lets me know that that can be something used. They can use that against people. That's not right. People are witnessing a murder. What up, Jay? People are witnessing a murder and they're reacting to it. There's more things that she said. I want to play this.
Any of those steps. And were you able to do that? Any of those steps?
No, sir.
Why weren't you able to do any of that?
Because the officers didn't let me in to the scene. I also offered, in my memory, to walk them through it or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions. And that wasn't done either.
And so are these things that you wanted to do?
It's what I would have done for anybody.
When you couldn't do that, how did that make you feel?
Totally distressed.
Were you frustrated?
Yes.
Ms. Hanson, as I told you, we can take our time, so feel free to just take a minute. If you need a drink of water, go ahead.
Okay.
While you were there, were there other people around you on the sidewalk?
Yes.
And were they saying things to the officers as well?
Yes.
And do you remember what kinds of things they were saying?
No, I was pretty focused on trying to get the officers to let me help.
And how were you doing that, trying to get the officers to focus on you and get help?
I think in my memory, I tried different tactics of calm and reasoning. I tried to be assertive. I pled and was.
Listen to this.
You first arrived on scene, your own personal, I'm just talking about you personally, your own personal demeanor was much more calm.
Correct.
And as you were there between 8:26 and 8:30, so in about those 4 minutes, you would agree that your own demeanor got louder and more frustrated and upset.
Frustrated, I'm not sure is the word I would use.
angry?
More desperate.
And you called the officers a bitch, right?
Yep. I got quite angry after Mr. Floyd was loaded into the ambulance, and there was no point in trying to reason with them anymore because they had just killed somebody.
And you would agree that when you first arrived...
First of all, pay attention to how she answered that. Second of all, pay attention to the fact that she was not argumentative at all. She wasn't, there was no pushback. She didn't say it with no attitude. But something about the judge, for some reason, didn't like how she was answering these questions so great and so in favor without even being there. Like, the way she answered the questions towards the defense made the defense look even more dumb. And for some reason, the judge didn't like that. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Know what his pulse is.
Yep.
Right? And we're saying, I want to know what his pulse is.
Yep.
Right? And some people were swearing.
Absolutely.
And would you describe other people's demeanors as upset or angry?
I don't know if you've seen anybody be killed, but it's upsetting.
To answer it.
Yes, I was just going to object, Your Honor.
As argumentative, and you can proceed.
I'm going to...
As argumentative? How did that sound argumentative? Can somebody please explain to me how that sounded argumentative? Please listen again. Listen again.
I don't know if you've seen anybody be killed, but it's upsetting.
To answer it.
Yes, I was just...
How the fuck was that argumentative in any way, shape, or form? She answered the question. She answered the question. Hey, I don't know if you've seen anyone get killed before, but it's upsetting. Think about how fucking crazy this is. That's wild. That's wild to actually fucking think that is argumentative in any type of way.
Just going to object, Your Honor.
As argumentative, and you can proceed.
I'm going to just ask you to answer my questions as I ask them to you, okay?
She did. She fucking did. She answered the question the way that it was supposed to. I don't get that. I don't get that. Jay said exactly, bro. All this is common sense. And to me, that's what's upsetting because we have to basically convince people verbally that what they seen with their own eyes. That is the most that's what makes people get frustrated and emotional about the shit, because it's one thing when it's not on video and we hear about an instance, but when all these instances are on video and you continuously have to explain yourself when you don't have to, because there's video that shows what happened, and people who are supposed to be humane or give a fuck about another human life don't see what you see. It's frustrating. And guess what? It causes people to be distressed and to be angry and to be sad and to be willing to go out there and fucking destroy shit because nobody's listening. You can see it on video and still don't give a fuck. So you get met with that energy. That's what people don't understand. The outcome of this whole entire trial, it depends on, like, you got to understand there is going to be more than just backlash. That is going to be an understatement for what is going to happen if this shit goes left. And the way that it's looking and the way that the judge, I want to get to that part. Man. Let me show y'all that part, man.
Already been called based on what you saw when you first arrived.
Yes.
And in fact, paramedics did respond, right? You saw the ambulance come up.
Yes, that's not their normal response time.
Okay. And so you noticed there was some abnormal response time for medics.
Right, and I also noticed that that is precisely the kind of call that fire would respond to, and Station 17 is just a couple blocks away.
Okay. So do officers on scene decide, do we call for medic or fire?
I don't believe so. I believe that's dispatch. They call for medical
So if
attention.
police call dispatch and they say EMS, we need EMS code 3, it's dispatch who decides, do we send medics or fire?
Well, it would be medic. It would be fire with medics, not just fire ever. I don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough. But ultimately, medics did arrive, right?
Yeah, eventually.
And you have no
Look how argumentative she is.
frame of reference
Fucking-
of when police called paramedics, do you?
No, but I know how long it takes for medics to get to calls typically, and I know how long it takes to drive 3 blocks in an emergency fire vehicle.
But that presumes that the fire vehicle was not on another call, right?
It would have been a different station that was, the nearest 2 other stations would have been able to respond to that call in 3 minutes.
Right. So if you first walked on scene at 8:26:29, that was what we just saw.
Okay.
8:26:29.
Okay.
And paramedics had been called at 8:21. That's an abnormal response time based on your experience.
What time did you say I arrived?
8:26:29.
And the medics arrived at what time?
The medics were called at 8:21. Code 3.
I don't believe that.
He didn't say when they arrived. He tried to get her up with the whole 5-minute shit, but he didn't say when they arrived. You catch that, right?
But
That's
again,
why
you
she's
have no
good.
frame
She's
of
good.
reference, right?
She's good.
I mean,
Look,
you've not
he got
seen
snumbled
any
up.
police reports. You've not looked at the CADs. You've not heard the 911 calls. You didn't listen to dispatch that night, did you?
That night? No, not that night.
Okay.
But that's totally abnormal.
All right.
And fire would have been added to that call because we go to calls like that all the time.
Right. And so
Yeah,
it was
she is.
abnormal. It would be completely and totally abnormal in your experience for it to take that long to get to the scene.
Absolutely.
All right. And are you familiar with the term load and go?
Yes.
And I believe you had a conversation with the BCA agents shortly after this incident, and you described what you observed as far as the paramedics doing was what's called a load and go, right?
Correct.
And that is essentially, as I understand it, paramedics arrive, something is amiss at the scene,
Mm-hmm.
so we put them into the ambulance and we move the ambulance to another.
A safe location to
Right.
address the needs.
And that's what you observed here, right?
Correct.
And it's because there were quite a few people, and those people were all fairly upset, right?
Correct.
And so, in your mind, as a paramedic with the experience that you have,
EMT.
or I'm sorry, as an EMT, I apologize.
Never.
As an EMT, you've done load and goes before,
We've done load and goes, yeah.
right? And so, the reason that the medics did not commence, at least as far as you understood, commence resuscitative efforts for Mr. Floyd was because they were doing a load and go, get him away.
Correct.
I want to object to that. It's no personal knowledge of this witness.
Overruled.
That's what you told the agents, right?
Overruled.
I don't remember exactly what I told the agents, but it looked like a load and go to me.
Okay. Now, in terms of your, again, personal experience, or excuse me, on that day, the paramedics drove off, and then at some other point, a couple minutes later, is when the fire truck arrives, right?
Right, and that's how I knew there was something wrong when requesting medical assistance.
Okay, because the fire department showed up at Cup Foods, and the ambulance had already left and gone to another location.
No, more because the fire, whether it's 17s or a different station, would have been able to respond to that call much sooner than medics were.
All right. So, I mean, you kind of formed that opinion on that day that there were some miscommunications between medics and fire and police.
Right, which,
Man,
I mean, not to the fault of medics or fire. It's, we get a call and we go.
Okay.
So it was police and dispatch that miscommunication would have come in.
Okay. And again, that 5 or 6 minute delay is just unheard of in your experience.
Yes. Not by medics, but by fire specifically.
Are you trained as an EMT in the use of Narcan?
Yes, sir.
And can you explain what Narcan generally is?
It's an opioid reversal medication. We give it intranasally, but a lot of people on the street have a injectable.
oh yeah, one more thing, man. I had a this is totally off subject, but I had a goal this month to reach 700 subscribers, and we got 691. So we only need 9 more. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We got till tomorrow to meet that goal. So fuck with you if you fuck with me. All right, appreciate you. Let's go.
Form.
Kind of like an EpiPen almost, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You testified that the firehouse that you work at, you deal with a lot of overdose calls.
Correct.
And so you've had a lot of experience dealing with people who are overdosing
Correct.
from opiates or from other controlled substances.
Correct.
And you have seen or dealt with many people who come out of an opiate overdose because of Narcan.
Correct. If I didn't have Narcan though, we still give. If we'll monitor a pulse and give compressions as necessary. I've never not had Narcan, but I would be able to give medical attention to somebody that had overdosed on an opioid and lost their pulse.
Okay, so let me ask you, is it fire department policy when you are going to a call of an overdose that police are also dispatched to that call?
I believe so, yeah.
And that is because when people are revived from that, they often become combative, right?
Not often.
I'm sorry.
Not often.
But it happens.
I've seen it happen.
Making George Floyd look like a fucking violent person who was handcuffed and face down on the ground with men on top of him and a knee on his neck, unconscious. Now, what this stupid ass, bitch ass motherfucker is saying is that if they would have used Narcan on him because of what they believed him to have an overdose and that being the reason that he died, he's saying that if they would have tried to resuscitate him, that George Floyd would have become combative if he would have came back too. Guess what? You dumbass fucking defense lawyer. He was handcuffed and face down, and he still had a fucking knee upon his neck even after the fucking EMTs showed up. Unconscious. Dealing with what ifs from a person that didn't want the person he is fucking examining right now to even be a part of this because he thought she was going to bring up what ifs. Come on, man. Pay attention. Stay with me.
Now I'm going to just kind of talk to you a little bit about your testimony about
This motherfucker's an idiot.
May 25th of 2020. You were out for a walk because it was your day off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry. You're out for a walk, and
fuck
you're
up.
walking down. You're walking westbound on 38th Street, and you see the lights. And you said it's not uncommon to see lights there.
In my neighborhood. Not on that corner, but in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Or in the city.
Right. Okay. And as you walked, what would be the southeast corner of 38th in Chicago, you heard a woman yelling that they are killing him, right?
Right.
And so you did this kind of circle loop to visualize and see what was going on, right? And at the point that you came on scene, Mr. Floyd was already on the ground, right?
Correct.
And Mr. Floyd, you saw what your memory told you was 4 police officers on him, right?
Correct.
But you now know that it was 3, right?
Correct.
And I think you made some reference about why you videotaped, because our memories are fallible,
Correct.
right? And again, a stressful situation can impact your memory, right?
Absolutely. That's why we're lucky it was videotaped.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also fair to say that once you kind of came, you first talked to Officer Tao, and you said that you identified yourself as a Minneapolis firefighter, right?
Correct.
And Officer Tao asked you to step onto the curb, and you did that,
Correct.
right? And you would agree that when you first arrived on scene, your own personal, I'm just talking about you personally, your own personal demeanor was much more calm.
Correct.
And as you were there between 8:26 and 8:30, so in about those 4 minutes, you would agree that your own demeanor got louder and more frustrated and upset.
Frustrated, I'm not sure is the word I would use.
Angry?
More desperate.
And you called the officers a bitch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got quite angry after Mr. Floyd was loaded into the ambulance, and there was no point in trying to reason with them anymore because they had just killed somebody.
So in terms of the
Is you trying
time
to
that
paint
you
her
were
as
there,
violent?
you have no idea what those officers were doing on the side of the car, right?
What does that
Say it
mean?
ag- the officers that I couldn't see from my vantage point, is that what you're asking?
Right. You
Right,
don't know
I
what they
cou-
were doing.
I couldn't see the 2 junior officers, except for maybe like their shoulders up.
And so it's fair to say you don't know what they were doing.
Correct.
You don't know what they were talking about.
The 2 of them, no.
And there was, again, you described a fairly large crowd, 10, 12 people that were all in that general area.
Mm-hmm.
And several people were yelling, right?
Several
Right.
people were yelling.
And some people were yelling louder than others, right?
Right.
And a lot
Yeah.
of people were saying things like, get off of him, right?
Right.
And a lot of people, you yourself, were saying, I want to know what his pulse is,
Yeah.
right? And some people were
He's trying.
swearing.
Absolutely.
Some people were
And
swearing.
would you describe other people's demeanors as upset or angry?
I don't know if you've seen anybody be killed, but it's upsetting.
Last answer is
Yes, I was just going to object, Your Honor.
as argumentative, and you can proceed.
I'm going to just ask you to answer my questions as I ask them to you, okay?
Yeah, this defense attorney. Trash ass defense attorney. Mr. Nelson.
You also talked about how
What's good, Elma?
when you first approached, you saw the complete and total body weight of all 3 officers on Mr. Floyd.
I never said all 3 officers. Their body weight was on him
No, it's not a loop. I played the earlier version off of fucking Twitter. That's what I played earlier, but I wanted to play the full version in context so that you hear it, because I hate really playing clips because you really don't get the context, and this is a channel that's built on fucking context, getting the context and making sure you get the full knowledge of everything. So I wanted to play this because in a few minutes you're going to see how the judge is going to scold her for being argumentative and arguing with the court and arguing with the lawyers and arguing with the it was the dumbest shit that, for one, was unexpected as fuck, because she held herself down, I think, in a very amazing way the entire time, even dealing with the stupidity, the major stupidity coming from the defense. She handled herself stupendously. I give her immense credit and respect for coming up here and doing the right thing. This is it. What she did was the right thing, and I think what the judge did was 100% wrong. But we'll get there. It's gonna happen in a few minutes. Just pay attention.
The two in the back, their full body weight was seeming to be on him, but
now pay attention from this point on. After the first time he said it was argumentative, the judge, pay attention from that point on. Her demeanor, how she acted, how she responded to things, and then pay attention to how the judge reacted to her at the end.
That's not something that would kill.
All right. But you testified that their
yes.
body weight,
yes,
my
their
question
body
is,
weight, yes,
was on.
Just answer his questions if you
Okay.
would.
So just to be clear, for the record is clear, you testified.
Yes.
Let me finish my question.
Finish your question.
You testified that when you first arrived, you observed the weight of all three officers on Mr. Floyd. Yes or no?
Yes.
But again, once you were ushered or commanded or directed, whatever term you want to use, to the curb, you again, as far as the other two officers, you were not watching who had their weight where or when.
I could not see the other two officers. I could see them, and they were not talking much.
Okay.
I could see their faces.
A lot of people were yelling.
Right?
And again, you were not paying attention to what they were saying.
Just here and there.
So do you remember what the officers were talking about?
Oh, the officers? No, I have no idea. They weren't talking.
All right. You also testified that as you were observing Mr. Chauvin on George Floyd, that you formed the opinion that Mr. Chauvin's hand was in his pocket.
Correct.
Nonchalant
and you
as fuck.
described him as comfortable.
Correct.
Yep. Ain't no lie, you might have to
also
expect that
testified
around
that you
the country.
observed what you thought to be fluid coming from Mr. Floyd's body, and you assigned that, or you believed that to be urine.
I considered that it was, and took that as a sign. that
Do
he
you
needed-
recall telling the agents that it was his urine?
I don't recall.
And you said that, you testified that your focus became really sort of zoomed in on trying to get the attention of the officers, right?
Not the attention so much as trying to reason with them and gain access to get medical attention.
And you testified that you believe that the other voices, the voices of other people, interfered with you getting their attention.
I was worried about it. but I know that Tao could hear me talking because he was responding to me directly.
Now, in terms of your, the statement that you gave, you were interviewed by Agents Matthew Lund, and Agent James Ryerson. Do you recall those names?
No.
Do you dispute me if I'm
No.
telling? Okay. And would you dispute me if I told you that that interview took place on May 28th of 2020?
No.
And before coming into court, did you have an opportunity to review your
The
statement
judge
at all?
made her nervous.
I had the opportunity to, but I didn't.
Okay. You never read the transcript of your statement or
I
anything?
chose not to.
I just want to ask you a few questions. You said that Officer Tao at some point said, if you're really a firefighter, you should know better.
Correct.
Have you been to other scenes
Right.
where people are trying to interfere with police officers doing their jobs?
No, not really. Not that I can recall.
That's so fucking stupid.
Do you remember telling the agents that you believed that Officer Chauvin had his hands in his pocket?
Vaguely remember saying that.
Do you recall telling the agents that you were pretty certain the fluid was coming from Mr. Floyd's body, and that's what made you think he was dead?
I'm sure I said that. Pretty sure.
Do you recall describing the crowd as a heavy crowd?
No, I don't recall.
Would it refresh your recollection to review the transcript of your statement?
I don't want to.
Okay. Would you dispute me if I told you that you told the agents it was a heavy crowd?
That's true.
No, I guess not.
Pay attention. Pay attention to what's about to happen.
Do you
Watch.
recall after paramedics took Mr. Floyd and then you had a conversation
Pay attention.
with the firefighters that arrived, how you described the physical appearance of Mr. Floyd?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling them that he...
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Again, this is an improper form of cross-examination.
I don't want argument. What's your grounds?
Improper form of cross-examination.
Sustained. You may impeach if you wish.
All right. I know you don't want to look at your transcript, but may I approach the witness?
I know you don't want to look at your transcript, but let me force you to look at this transcript real quick. Because I'm trying my hardest
Ms. Hanson,
to fucking stick some shit that has nothing to do with George Floyd being murdered. The defense has nothing. They're trash as fuck.
I'm just going to ask you to read the underlined portions in your head.
Talking about pay attention to this, right? Right when he goes back to the mic, the reason why he's even coming up to her with a transcript is to try to read off her explaining the type of body type that George Floyd had, because her first initial reaction after seeing someone get murdered was that he was slim and frail. Listen to how she responds to it, because that is his attempt
Yeah.
at being like, no, of course he's not small and frail. He's 6 foot something and 200 something pounds, and he's a big scary black man.
Does that refresh your recollection of this conversation?
Yeah.
Did you describe Mr. Floyd as a small, slim
I'm
man?
going to make the same objection.
Overruled.
Not
Yeah,
even
it
overruled.
appeared to, with 3 grown men on top of somebody, it appeared that he was small and frail.
Okay.
But I know that's
I'm
not
not-
to be
there's
true,
no question.
obviously.
There's no question.
I was finishing my answer.
Members of the jury, we're going to plead for the name. Please go.
Now watch this.
Back into the courtroom. Counsel remain. Witness remain.
Listen to the judge. After that last exchange, listen to him. Now tell me if the judge deserved to do this to her. Did she deserve this from the judge? Pay attention.
Be seated. We are outside the hearing of the jury. Ms. Hanson, I'm advising you, do not argue with counsel, and specifically, do not argue with the court.
Is the cameras off? Are the cameras off?
No, they are not. We are on the record.
Okay.
You will not argue with the court. You will not argue with counsel.
Mm-hmm.
They have the right to ask questions. Your job is to answer them.
I was finishing my answer.
I will determine when your answer is done.
Okay, well,
And so, do not argue with the court. Do not argue with counsel. Answer the questions. Do not volunteer information that is not requested. The attorneys for the state have redirect. They can ask you questions if they think that certain things were left out.
okay.
It is counsel's prerogative to ask you leading questions and for you to answer those and not volunteer additional information.
Okay.
Are we clear on this?
We're clear.
Thank you. Come back tomorrow at 9:30.
All right. Good night.
The judge is a bitch.
Do we have the person with the cell phone? Could we arrange to have that person come down?
The judge is a bitch for that. And I stand by that. Judge Cahill, you are a bitch for that. A whole bitch for that. Superiority complex, like shit, you goddamn right. You sit up here listening to the defense asking dumbass questions and then get mad because somebody is frustrated at the dumbass questions being asked. Oh, I know the breakdown. JG said, what is the racial breakdown of the jurors? 9 out of 15 jurors are white. That's all you need to know. 9 out of 15 jurors are white. A cold bitch, yes he is. Yes he motherfucking is. The judge showed his face today. The judge showed his motherfucking face today. Don't you forget it. Everybody out there, don't forget it. Judge Cahill showed his face today. Nine. It's 9. 9 white. Say it to his face, Black, we need more views. Nigga, nobody will get close to this judge for at least 2 years. For at least 2 years. At least. There's no way anybody's going to come close to this motherfucker. What's going on, GMS fam? I'm late. It's all good, Claudia. You can catch up, man. We've been at this for about an hour and a half. We about to actually close it out, man, because I need to decompress from this shit. This should be fucking irking my fucking nerves, man. But I'm gonna be covering this shit every day until this motherfucker's over, because this shit is important to me, and we need to see where this is gonna end up. And I believe whatever is gonna be the last day of trial, I'll probably stream that whole thing, depending on how long it is. I'm gonna try to stream the whole thing so we can watch the whole thing live together. But yeah, man, this is the shit that we got to deal with. This is the fuckery that the court case has turned into. The trial, they're trying to make this a mockery. They're trying to make this look like it's not what it is, man. This is clear-cut case murder. And I hope he gets charged with every single last motherfucking charge that he has sitting over his head. But we gonna see how this plays out, because we know how the jury, how the court handles shit, especially when it comes to people of color, especially how white men in particular view big black men, aka George Floyd, may he rest in peace. So yeah, man, everybody in the chat, man, I thank y'all for fucking with me. I'm gonna shout y'all names out too, by the way. I'm gonna shout everybody out that pulled up on me. I really appreciate y'all, man, before we get out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, we're gonna cover it every day. Hey, y'all know what tonight is though. This is off the record. This is off the subject. Y'all know what tonight is. It's Tuesday. So y'all know what comes on tonight. So I want y'all to be prepared for that as well, because that shit don't stop. We're going to do a video on that tomorrow morning, of course, just to break down whatever the fucking topics was on that show. So, 5150 show tonight with Corey Holcomb. Y'all go ahead and watch that shit tonight when it airs, and then we'll be back here tomorrow to discuss that shit and to once again follow the trial later that night like we did today. So, without further ado, I am going to play this shit because I do have a beat album out. I'm not really gonna try to promote it. We're talking about way too much serious shit today, and I'm not one of those people that's like, yeah, we did all this shit, talked all this serious shit. Now, hey, go get the fucking album. I'm just gonna play this fucking beat as I read y'all names out because I want this background music, and I made this shit, and I'm proud of it. So anyway, let's shout y'all motherfucking names out, man. Everybody that pulled up in the chat, man. Loke Dog 606, man. Thank you so much for pulling up. J.R. Miller, of course, one of my moderators, man. I fuck with you, man. That's my brother, man. Shout out JG. Shout out JL in the motherfucking chat. Mr. Big Rich was in the chat today, man. Shout him out. Motherfucking Ben Slim, as always, man. Shout you out. Tony Henderson, what's happening, brother? Always pulling up, man. All you motherfuckers that pull up religiously, man. Jay Monte, another moderator, man. Fuck with you, man. Shout out to you for pulling up. Polluted, once again, another motherfucker that pull up, man. I appreciate y'all niggas that pull up on me habitually. Y'all some habitual pull-uppers, man. I appreciate y'all. And y'all come over here and y'all talk that real shit with me, and I appreciate you. Alma Dixon Cider, you know what it is. Shout out to you. Raven Smith, shout out to you as well, man. Y'all in this motherfucker. I appreciate you. Hey. Prince Young, man, shout out to you, man. Lovable Lucky Friend, shout out to you. Claudia Garcia, you was late, but you was still here, and I appreciate you so much. Bad C ENT, I see you, bruh. What's good? Let's go. Yeah, come back, man. Pull up on me tomorrow, man. I'll be back. Every single day, I stream every day. And like I said, we trying to get to that 700 subscribers, man. So give me there, man. Share this motherfucker up, man. And go get that motherfucking beat tape, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.